happened in Canada, Rick Ross got.
Big Meech's giant welcome home concert
told you it was
was
gonna get
canceled.
Put your back against the wall and just slide down. You already.
For years, the dynamic between Curtis 50 Cent Jackson and William Rick Ross Roberts felt like a standard, albeit persistent, feature of the hip-hop landscape. Their clashes, primarily expressed through lyrical sparring and public pronouncements, seemed contained within the expected boundaries of rap rivalry, a mix of ego, marketing, and genuine animosity. However, what began as a simmering feud has now erupted into a full-scale conflict exceeding the confines of mere diss tracks and industry games. This escalation transcends the usual back and forth. It's morphed into a volatile situation with real-world implications, threatening to destabilize reputations and fracture established alliances. No longer confined to studios and stages, their dispute has spilled onto the streets and screens, pulling in a wider circle of individuals and, crucially, intertwining with the complex and captivating saga of the Black Mafia Family. But what catalyst ignited this transformation, pushing their antagonism to such heightened intensity? The answer lies in a narrative of fractured allegiances, a celebratory homecoming that morphed into a debacle, and accusations so potent they could redefine the legacies of all involved. Prepare to delve into a story not just of rivalry, but of profound betrayal that cuts to the core of loyalty and trust in the unforgiving world of hip-hop and beyond.
February 13th. The Big Meech home benefit concert. It's gonna be iconic. Too many names to list, but let me salute some of the legends. Lil Baby, Boss Man D-Lo, 21 Savage, Sexy Red, Ricky Rose. Now, this the first time it's ever been done.
The release of Demetrius Big Meech Flannery from federal custody after decades of incarceration was more than just a legal development. It was a cultural phenomenon, a moment that resonated deeply within the hip-hop community and far beyond. Meech, the iconic, albeit controversial figurehead of the Black Mafia family, represented an era, a lifestyle, and a narrative that had captivated public imagination for years. Into this charged atmosphere stepped Rick Ross, not as a passive observer, but as a proactive participant, immediately enveloping Meech in a public embrace. This wasn't a quiet acknowledgement or a discreet show of support. Ross orchestrated a grand, ostentatious welcome home concert, a lavish spectacle designed to celebrate Meech's newfound freedom on a massive scale. Consider the implications of this maneuver. Meech, emerging from prison, immediately finds himself aligned not simply with a fellow artist, but with the long-standing adversary of Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. Was this a gesture of genuine solidarity, a heartfelt greeting for a figurehead, or was it a meticulously calculated strategic play, a deliberate power move intended to directly challenge and undermine Jackson? Crucially, remember Jackson's substantial investment in the BMF narrative itself. His successful television series has become a significant part of his media empire, drawing directly from Meech's story. Ross, by stepping in, offering Meech a prominent platform, and openly discussing his own ambitions for a competing BMF cinematic project, appeared to be launching a direct assault on Jackson's territory, a brazen attempt to seize control of the BMF narrative itself. This wasn't perceived as mere competition, it was interpreted as a declaration of war.
Gang, we 2 days away from the Big Meech concert. Get your tickets right now. Make sure everybody flying to the city for this. It's gonna be huge. Put your back against the wall and just slide down. You already know, car show going down June 7th. Get online right now, get your tickets right now. But for the hustlers, I want y'all to understand you gotta stop making business personal.
Curtis 50 Cent Jackson's reaction to Ross's assertive move was anything but restrained. It was volcanic. He didn't engage in subtle retaliation. He unleashed a forceful, unrestrained assault on Meech's character and standing. The central accusation, delivered with maximum impact and repeated relentlessly, was that of snitching. Jackson didn't merely suggest it, he proclaimed it, branding Meech as an informant who had allegedly cooperated with law enforcement to secure his early release from prison. Social media became his chosen battleground, flooded with a barrage of symbolic imagery, rat emojis, accusatory memes, and pointed pronouncements, leaving no room for ambiguity in his message. And then came the deployment of a particularly potent verbal weapon, the appropriation of Ross's own anthem, BMF, Blowin' Money Fast. Jackson twisted the celebratory track into a biting indictment, repurposing Ross's creation as a tool of mockery and condemnation. But what fueled such an extreme, almost visceral response? The roots of Jackson's fury extend beyond mere competitive instincts. He had dedicated considerable time, resources, and capital to the BMF television series, a project that provided a significant platform and career launchpad for Demetrius "Lil Meech" Flannery Jr., Big Meech's son. From Jackson's perspective, Meech's alignment with Ross was not just a professional divergence, it was a profound betrayal of a partnership, a blatant disregard for loyalty, and a direct undermining of the very legacy he believed he was instrumental in shaping and promoting. Whispers and speculations, initially sparked by Jackson's vehement pronouncements, began to circulate more widely, questioning the circumstances surrounding Meech's reduced sentence. Was there indeed a quid pro quo? Had Meech's freedom been expedited through cooperation with authorities? These questions, amplified by Jackson's relentless campaign, cast a dark shadow over Meech's celebratory homecoming.
Which director? Shout out to my homie F. Gary Gray, Antoine Foucault, what's up? Tarantino. It's a lot of legends. This is gonna be big, I can feel it. I'm just talking.
Into this already volatile mix emerges Tammy Cowens, a figure shrouded in ambiguity and fueling further controversy. Her name surfaced repeatedly, transitioning from peripheral whisper to central point of contention. Described as a long-term business associate of Meech, she was also, more ominously, identified in certain circles as a federal informant, a label laden with suspicion and distrust within the context of street credibility. Rumors rapidly coalesced, positioning Cowens as the linchpin in Meech's sentence reduction, the alleged orchestrator of a deal struck with federal prosecutors. And it is here that the narrative takes an even more sinister turn, introducing the tragic figure of Dion Cuffy Gatling. Cuffy wasn't merely a business contact, he was reportedly a close confidant and longtime business partner of Meech, their association stretching back years. According to Tamara Gatling, Cuffy's daughter, a devastating revelation shattered her family. She alleges that it was Big Meech himself, in conjunction with Tammy Cowens, who orchestrated Cuffy's downfall, leading to his arrest and subsequent imprisonment. The accusation is chilling and deeply damaging. To secure his own liberation, Meech allegedly sacrificed a trusted friend and associate. Tamara Gatling asserts that her family uncovered compelling evidence implicating Meech as a confidential informant in Cuffy's case. Adding a layer of calculated deceit, it's claimed that Meech even introduced Cuffy to Tammy Cowens under the pretense of collaborating on a BMF-related film project, a seemingly innocuous maneuver that allegedly facilitated Cuffy's entrapment. This account paints a stark picture of fractured bonds, a sacred code of loyalty shattered for personal gain. The narrative suggests a betrayal that goes beyond mere rivalry, hinting at a calculated act of self-preservation at the expense of a long-standing friendship.
February 13th, the Big Meech home benefit concert. It's gonna be iconic. Too many names to list, but let me salute some of the legends. Lil Baby, Boss Man D-Lo, 21 Savage, Sexy Red, Ricky Rose. Now, this the first time it's ever been done.
Against the backdrop of these escalating accusations and alleged betrayals, Rick Ross's highly anticipated Welcome Home concert for Big Meech loomed large on the cultural horizon. The performer roster was impressive, boasting prominent names in contemporary hip-hop such as Lil Baby and Moneybagg Yo, promising a significant and memorable event. Fan excitement reached fever pitch. Tickets were in high demand, and Miami prepared to host a major celebration. Then, with breathtaking suddenness, silence descended, followed by the jarring announcement, cancellation. Unforeseen circumstances was the official, perfunctory explanation, but informed observers recognized that the underlying reasons were likely far more complex and considerably more acrimonious. Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, ever vigilant for an opportunity to capitalize on his rival's misfortunes, wasted no time in seizing the moment. His online pronouncements were laced with undisguised glee and thinly veiled sarcasm. "I had nothing to do with this. Please stop calling my phone. I sincerely hope you have a nice day today. Happy Valentine's Day," he posted, the insinuation of his involvement hanging heavy in the digital air. but the unfolding drama extended beyond mere public posturing. A private text message, purportedly from Demetrius Lil Meech Flannery Jr. to Jackson, surfaced publicly, exposing a tangled web of conflicting allegiances. Lil Meech, caught in an impossible position between his father and the man who had launched his acting career, appeared to be attempting to placate Jackson, professing loyalty while simultaneously acknowledging Rick Ross's financial support of Big Meech during his transition back to freedom. This attempt at reconciliation backfired spectacularly. Instead of eliciting sympathy or understanding, the leaked text seemed to further inflame Jackson's ire, solidifying his perception of widespread betrayal and opportunistic alliances. The concert cancellation became a symbolic casualty, a public manifestation of the widening chasm between the involved parties, and a stark illustration of the escalating conflict.
Look, I do want to do a BMF film because you've been entertained by a lackluster, small budget series. Now it's time to do a big budget film.
Curtis 50 Cent Jackson has established an unyielding position, a point of no return from which reconciliation appears virtually impossible. His stance is characterized by an absolute refusal to offer forgiveness or consider compromise. In his world, transgression carries permanent consequences. There is no middle ground, no opportunity for redemption, and certainly no tolerance for perceived disloyalty. The swift and decisive marginalization of young Buck, who briefly offered a mild defense of Meech, serves as a stark example of Jackson's unforgiving approach. Buck, by merely venturing into perceived neutral territory, immediately found himself targeted by Jackson's relentless online attacks, demonstrating the perilous nature of even appearing to deviate from Jackson's established battle lines. This conflict transcends the typical contours of industry disputes or fleeting rivalries. For Jackson, the perceived affront is deeply personal. He views Ross's actions not as mere competitive maneuvering, but as a calculated attempt to appropriate something intrinsically valuable: the cultural capital associated with the BMF legacy, the personal loyalty he believed he had cultivated with Lil Meech, and the overarching narrative he has painstakingly constructed and controlled. In response to this perceived transgression, Jackson has initiated a comprehensive and unforgiving campaign of retribution, leaving no doubt about the permanence of the divide and the intensity of his resolve. Therefore, the central questions remain: is Rick Ross genuinely orchestrating a strategic dismantling of Jackson's empire, operating covertly to undermine his position, or is Jackson, a master of media manipulation and self-promotion, skillfully amplifying the controversy to generate attention and solidify his own narrative dominance? The truth likely resides in the complex interplay of these factors. Regardless of the underlying motivations, one conclusion is inescapable: this hip-hop rivalry has been reignited with unprecedented ferocity and personal animosity, and the industry now waits with bated breath to witness Curtis 50 Cent Jackson's next move in this high-stakes, unforgiving game of power, legacy, and betrayal.